What's going on YouTube? Greg Ferris here, and I'm going to try something a little new with this YouTube video. Hopefully you guys have been noticing, but I have been putting up a lot more content on my website, writing things. That's just kind of more my style than more like little quick informative videos. What I may start doing is still doing the writing because I really enjoy that, and also is kind of trying to do 3 to 5 minute videos kind of summarizing what I said in that article. So for people who kind of want the nuts and bolts of it, they can watch the video, kind of get the good idea, and then if they like the topic, maybe able to dig into it a little bit more. Or if you people are just like kind of like me who like just read things, that's going to be there for you too. You can dig into the research a little bit more, but I think this will be a good way, and I'll get all kind of rely on feedback from my viewers to see if they think it's helpful. Because again, I just enjoy writing. I think people get a little bit more out of that. So this is going to be my first time doing it, so hopefully I can kind of summarize things in good detail and not go crazy overboard. And again, this specific article will be posted down below the description box, of course, and this will probably be also embedded into the video on my website. So what I wanted to talk about was Spark by Advocare. It is like their pre-workout product. I've been having some feelings about Advocare lately that just aren't the greatest. So, but I did name the article An Objective Look at Spark by Advocare, because I wanted to I kind of had my thoughts going in about what it probably was, but again, I wanted to be objective about it and actually go in and look at every single ingredient like I will with any other product and kind of see if it has efficacy based on the research, right? So I talked about a whole bunch of stuff in the article, but essentially what I'll talk about in the video is their main claims about what's in the product, and to kind of go by each one to see if they're useful or not. So I'll just read off what I have here. Their key ingredients are a B vitamin complex, taurine, L-tyrosine, choline, caffeine, GABA. That's pretty much it. So I'm not going to read their whole entire claims, but if you do read the blog post, I post 3 of their claims straight from their website, and I'll just kind of like paraphrase here a little bit. Their first claims talking about caffeine and taurine, right? So they're talking about caffeine, how it helps with memory and alertness and all those things that we've known for a long time. So I started talking about caffeine that's kind of a duh thing. Most people understand that caffeine is beneficial as far as memory and cognition and even exercise benefit. I supplement it with myself with the product that I take, or if I just make my own concoction. I think caffeine is great. But what I don't like about the product is there's only 120 milligrams of caffeine per serving, which is, like I said in the post, roughly a large cup of coffee, like 12 to 16 ounces. Most people are not going to get much out of that, at least most people that I know. So I would like to see that dosed higher. So kind of start off the bat, even their most effective ingredient, the most effective ergogen of all time, caffeine, is, I would say, underdosed at 120 milligrams. Then moving on to taurine. They talk about taurine helps provide the fast-acting energy that you need that won't overstimulate or overburden your body. So I went on to talk about taurine. And a quick point I'll note also on the article that I made, how cheap caffeine actually is in bulk. And being that this is their most effective ingredient, I would say this is probably what you're paying for the most in the product. I ran the math, and Spark is about, from Amazon.com, you may get like special deals or something somewhere else, but from Amazon.com, Spark was $1.21 per serving, and you're getting 120 milligrams from that. And I also just pulled up a Prima Force caffeine tablet, which is 90 capsules for 200 milligrams, and that comes out to roughly 10 cents per serving, and you almost get twice as much caffeine. So again, even if there was caffeine and enough in it, is it worth $1.21 per 120 milligrams, right? And then moving on to taurine, I talk about some of the research in taurine as well. Taurine does have some decent research based on like cognition and whatnot, but you'll see this in the blog post. The dosages is a lot higher than what's used in the product. And the research that I found One of the studies was 5 grams, another of the studies was 1.66 grams, and in the Spark product there is 200 milligrams. So that's a 1/25th of what's in one research study that I found and 1/8 of another study that I found. So again, taurine may have some benefits, but just because an ingredient has benefits does not mean that it's dosed properly, right? Like creatine monohydrate's effective, but if you take 200 milligrams a day, you're not going to get saturated. Same thing with beta-alanine. These things have a threshold where they can be effective at, and if they're not in that threshold in the product, they're not going to be effective, okay? So moving on from there, their number 2 claim was pretty easy to just kind of take care of. They're pretty much talking about their B vitamin complex, talking about how B vitamins are essential, which is another kind of like well duh thing. B vitamins are essential for just kind of normal functioning bodies. They do play a role like metabolism. They're not going to speed up your metabolism. They do not provide energy. That's a huge misconception. But essentially, if you're eating a varied diet, not even really a healthy diet, but if you're eating like meats, some kind of vegetables on a regular basis, you most likely are not going to be deficient in any B vitamins. So unless you're a vegetarian who doesn't consume meat or any kind of dairy products as well, I don't think there's any need to add additional B vitamins on top of your diet. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. And then kind of the third claim, there's a blend of tyrosine, GABA, and choline, I believe. So I'll try to summarize this pretty quickly, but tyrosine I do like as well. I do take it in tier 1 by Cellular Nutrition, and if I don't take that, I do make it myself. But again here, I believe their dose was, let me find here. I can't find what their dose was. Okay, they have 500 milligrams per serving. Just for some reference, tier 1 has 3 grams, so that's 6 times as much. I will usually supplement if I take it without tier 1 around 4 to 5 grams. So you're looking at anywhere from like 6 to 10, 12, 15 times as much that I would take, that I would advocate for the benefit of tyrosine, not 500 milligrams. And some of the research that I showed, roughly most people are going to fall around between 7 grams to 15 grams based on how your body weight. So again, the 500 milligrams that Spark is providing, while I would say tyrosine is a great product, a great kind of synergist with caffeine, at 500 milligrams you're probably not going to get much. So that's pretty much all I'll say about that. Then we talked about choline, which I really didn't know a lot about choline, so I got to learn quite a bit when researching this. Looking at the research, I should say. But essentially, again, I won't go through everything, but choline does have some decent kind of research on it, on cyclists, endurance athletes. There was some on weight training. But what they pretty much showed is that choline, it's kind of a limiting factor with a lot of endurance exercises, so like marathons and long distance cycling and things like that. It's kind of a limiting factor in the blood, so the theory is if you raise the choline in the blood, then the performance would be enhanced, right? So, but with a lot of the supplementation, the problem was that yes, choline does drop during exercise, choline concentration, it does drop during exercise, and supplementing with it does increase it during exercise, more to like a baseline level, but that does not always show performance benefit. So even though that it does increase choline, the question is, does that matter? And a lot of the research is saying that when it comes down to it and we're looking for a performance benefit, there's not a lot there. I did pull off a quote from Jissen talking about its efficacy, and they did say they do, I would say recommend it, but there has been research about 2.1 grams for an 80 kilogram athlete. That's roughly about what I am, about 170 pounds is about 80 kilograms. So 2.1 grams is what they were wanting to be dosed at. And one of the research studies I showed was at 2.2 grams and also 750 milligrams is where they were seeing it in the research. And on the specific product, there's only 500 milligrams of choline. So again, This kind of goes to the same thing with caffeine being underdosed, with taurine being a little underdosed. Maybe there is some benefit with choline. You're seeing it kind of recommended by Gistin at 2.1 grams for someone my size. Definitely no one is going to be able to get away with 500 milligrams based on that body weight dosages. So again, there may be some problems with choline. It's pretty small, even if there is, I would say. And even if there is a small effect, it's underdosed, okay? And then GABA, I'm not going to talk a lot about GABA because I pretty much found no research on it. As far as what I could tell, I'm not going to say that there isn't any research, but as far as what I could tell, it's just a theory about cognitive decline. So it's again, a limiting factor in mental fatigue, and the theory was that if you raised GABA or if you prevented GABA from going down, that mental fatigue would come at a later time. But I found 0 human studies on it. I found 1 rat study that didn't even measure exercise. All I did was measure the GABA concentration. They didn't even supplement with anything. So that's kind of the review, guys. Hopefully this wasn't too long. But what I want to just kind of wrap up with, while I do think will Spark give you a better workout? Yeah, most likely because it has some caffeine. But again, going back to the price, on Amazon.com, it's $51 for 42 servings. And I'm not trying to be mean to people who are taking this, but you're probably getting almost the same effect as a cup of coffee, a large cup of coffee, which you can probably make yourself by your house by 25 cents. So again, it does have some caffeine in it, low dose taurine. The B vitamins, I would say, are pretty much nothing. You have some potential kind of benefits with the tyrosine and the choline, but again, they're way underdosed. So overall, I just really couldn't recommend this product. Again, I went objectively at this. I did not kind of, just rant about the product or the company in this article. I wanted to actually examine each ingredient and kind of see what it was worth. So again, I would recommend kind of either taking a product that's a little bit better as far as having some performance ingredients like creatine monohydrate or beta-alanine, which are kind of the bread and butter of performance for all anaerobic athletes and even really aerobic athletes. And the sad truth is that there's just not a lot of good stuff out there. As far as like stimulants that I take, it's a mixture of caffeine and tyrosine, which is in this product, but I would definitely have it a higher grade. So that's pretty much the review, guys. Let me know what you thought. If you're watching this in the article, let me know what you think about kind of doing these dual things. Hopefully this was short and kind of to the point. It's hard for me to do that sometimes. Yeah, any feedback I can get. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my channel. And then also go check out the article down below for more information, guys. See you later.